In the dim light of dawn, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the distant echo of the river's flow. Locusta of Gaul, a young woman with an indomitable spirit, stood at the edge of her village, gazing toward the horizon where the sun began to break free from the grip of night. Her heart raced with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Today was not just another day in the quiet confines of her life, but the beginning of a journey that would lead her into the annals of history. Locusta was born into a world that often underestimated the strength of women, especially in the turbulent times of the Gallic Wars. The villagers whispered tales of powerful druids and fierce warriors, but few acknowledged the potential of a girl who spent her days collecting herbs and concocting remedies. Yet Locusta felt the pulse of something greater within her, a calling that resonated with the very essence of the earth and the secrets it held. Her childhood was marked by moments that would shape her destiny. One such moment came when she was merely 8 years old, wandering through the dense woods that bordered her village. The trees loomed like ancient sentinels, their gnarled roots twisting in and out of the earth, creating a labyrinth of nature. It was here she stumbled upon an injured fox, its leg caught in a hunter's snare. The creature whimpered softly, its eyes wide with fear. Locusta, her heart aching for the suffering animal, knelt beside it. With gentle hands, she worked to free the fox, her fingers deftly untangling the snare. As she did, she whispered soothing words, a melody of compassion that seemed to transcend the boundaries of language. The fox, sensing her intent, remained still, and when she finally released it, it looked at her with a mixture of gratitude and understanding before disappearing into the underbrush. In that moment, Locusta realized the power of healing, not just of the body but of the spirit. As the years passed, her reputation as a healer grew. Villagers came to her for remedies, seeking relief from ailments that plagued them. She learned to harness the gifts of the earth, studying the properties of plants and the ancient wisdom passed down through generations. However, her abilities were not merely rooted in the physical. She had an innate understanding of the human condition, a knack for listening and offering solace to those in despair. But the world around her was changing. The Romans, relentless in their pursuit of expansion, began to encroach upon Gallic territories. The peaceful existence of her people was threatened, and whispers of war filled the air. Locusta, ever perceptive, sensed the shift in the winds. She watched as her village prepared for the inevitable conflict, men sharpening their weapons and women gathering supplies. Each day brought news of skirmishes and betrayals, and the specter of fear loomed larger. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the landscape, a group of Roman soldiers marched into her village. Clad in armor that gleamed ominously, they were a stark contrast to the simplicity of her home. The villagers gathered, their faces etched with uncertainty, as the soldiers demanded provisions and information about the surrounding lands. Locusta felt a surge of anger rise within her. These were not only invaders, but also tyrants who sought to dominate and control. In the ensuing days, the Romans returned, their presence becoming a constant reminder of the fragility of their existence. Locusta's heart ached for her people, and she knew she could not remain a passive observer. She began to formulate a plan, one that would harness her knowledge of herbs and her understanding of the human psyche. Her mind raced with possibilities as she envisioned a way to turn the tide against the oppressors. She sought out the village elders, gathering them under the ancient oak tree that had witnessed countless seasons. With conviction, she spoke of the power of poison, a tool that could be wielded with precision. The elders listened, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and intrigue. They had always revered her as a healer, but the notion of using her skills for harm was foreign to them. Yet Locusta's passion ignited a spark of rebellion within the hearts of the villagers. The idea took root, and together they began to gather the deadly plants that grew in the wild, learning the art of crafting poisons that could incapacitate their enemies. With her heart pounding in her chest, she signaled to her companions. They moved swiftly, each step calculated and deliberate. As they approached, Locusta felt a strange calm envelop her. This was no longer just a fight for survival, it was a declaration of their existence, a testament to their will. They unleashed their carefully crafted poisons, and chaos erupted. The soldiers, caught off guard, fell victim to the very weapons they had wielded against the Gallic people. The taste of victory was bittersweet. Locusta knew that this was just the beginning. The Romans would retaliate, their thirst for vengeance insatiable. But she also understood that the seeds of resistance had been sown. Word spread through the villages like wildfire, igniting a spirit of defiance among her people. They rallied around her, recognizing her as a leader, a figure who embodied their hope. As the months passed, Locusta became a symbol of resistance. The Romans, frustrated by their inability to quell the uprisings, began to see her as a formidable adversary. They sent scouts to hunt her down, but she was always one step ahead, moving through the forests with the grace of a shadow. Her reputation grew, and with it, the stakes of her actions. Each victory brought new challenges, and the burden of leadership weighed heavily on her shoulders. But Locusta was not merely a warrior. She was a strategist. She understood the importance of alliances, and she sought to unite the various tribes of Gaul against their common enemy. It was a delicate dance, as rivalries ran deep, but her vision of a united front resonated with many. In one such village, she met a warrior named Vercingetorix, a man whose reputation preceded him. He was fierce and charismatic, a natural leader who commanded respect. Their meeting was electric, a collision of two powerful forces destined to intertwine. Together, they forged a bond, a partnership that would change the course of their struggle. Vercingetorix brought the strength of the warriors, while Locusta infused their cause with the cunning of a strategist and the wisdom of a healer. With their combined efforts, the resistance grew into a formidable army. They launched coordinated attacks against Roman outposts, employing guerrilla tactics that caught their enemies off guard. Locusta's knowledge of the land proved invaluable, allowing them to navigate the terrain with ease. The Romans, accustomed to conventional warfare, found themselves outmatched by this unconventional approach. As the tide turned, Locusta was faced with a choice. The Romans, desperate to quell the uprising, began to resort to brutal measures. Villages were burned and innocent lives were lost. The atrocities committed in the name of conquest weighed heavily on her conscience. She grappled with the morality of her actions, torn between the desire for revenge and the need for healing. In a moment of reflection, she sought solace by the river that had once been a source of inspiration. The water flowed steadily, a reminder of the cycles of life and death, of destruction and rebirth. It was here that she made a vow. If they were to emerge victorious, it would not be through a cycle of violence, but through a vision of unity and healing. The final confrontation with the Romans loomed on the horizon, a clash that would determine the fate of Gaul. Locusta and Vercingetorix stood side by side, rallying their forces in a show of unity. The battlefield was a tapestry of chaos, a cacophony of clashing swords and cries of defiance. But amidst the turmoil, Locusta remained a beacon of hope, her spirit unyielding. As the battle raged on, she moved through the ranks, tending to the wounded and offering words of encouragement. Her presence was a balm, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there was light to be found. She fought fiercely, wielding her knowledge of herbs to create tinctures that could numb pain and revive the fallen. In the heat of battle, Locusta found herself face to face with a Roman centurion, a man whose eyes reflected the same determination she felt within herself. They clashed, their weapons ringing out like a symphony of conflict. But in that moment, she saw not just an enemy but a reflection of the struggle that bound them both. With a swift movement, she disarmed him, her heart racing as she held his life in her hands. In that instant, she made a choice. Instead of delivering the final blow, she extended her hand, offering him a chance to surrender. The centurion, taken aback, hesitated. The battlefield around them faded into a blur as they locked eyes, two souls caught in the tempest of war. In that moment of vulnerability, something shifted. The man dropped his weapon, surrendering not just to her, but to the possibility of peace. The aftermath of the battle was bittersweet, and Locusta understood that healing would take time. She worked tirelessly to mend not only the physical wounds of her people, but also the emotional scars that lingered in their hearts. In the end, she was a testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, hope could flourish. Her legacy would endure, a beacon of light for generations to come, inspiring those who dared to dream of a world where healing triumphed over hatred and unity prevailed over division.